So the Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark situation is not going away. For those of us that talk about this, great. Like there's gonna be more views, more stuff to talk about. For the human beings involved, this is not good, obviously. But again, we got to talk about it because why? Because the narrative that's currently being pushed and the divisiveness of the whole situation not only is not helping one side, is not helping every side. Like, you've got Alyssa Thomas, who, I stand by this, Alyssa Thomas, absolutely, I can tell you for a fact, if it is, people are like, oh, Alyssa Thomas is lying about having her life threatened. Again, I get a random death threat on a fucking daily basis, and I live halfway across the world. So, yeah, like, I can guarantee you that people have. At the same time, this whole situation is not isolated. But anyway, let's listen to Alyssa Thomas. Let's take a listen here.
Playing the game, being suspended, just the whole narrative that's being painted out there.
The narrative that's being painted out there is the reason why I'm showing this picture. Alyssa Thomas, you might be the nicest human being in the history of Earth. You very well could be, which is why I'm not. Everything other than the 40 minutes you're on the court, I'm not judging anything by. But let's make it very clear. I've played with and against players that are savvy, dirty vets. As in, when the ref's not watching, they'll make sure they'll leave a little something extra into every single thing. And their goal isn't necessarily to hurt somebody. Their goal is to shake somebody up. And a lot of times it can lead to that. I've played with so many, I've played against so many, and at times in my basketball career, I've been that guy. I've been the savvy vet. I've played long enough to know where you can hold someone's arm, they can't do anything. Where you can hit someone that the referee won't call it. How you can aggressively bump a cutter in a way that's going to knock them on their ass, but the referee is going to call it as a common foul instead of a flagrant foul. Like, all of those things. And that is what Alyssa Thomas is. And this comes from someone who at times has absolutely played on the edge of being a dirty basketball player when I played. Anyone who fucking played against me, who's played against me will tell you that. But let's say, like, the narrative has been that you're a dirty player for years. The narrative has been that you're a dirty player since before Caitlin Clark set foot in the WNBA. That is the narrative, and that's a narrative I agree with.
It's unfortunate that it's come to this over basketball. A lot of us, myself included, didn't even know the play took place until after.
She did know the play took place. She went back for her afterwards. She went back to stamp on her afterwards. Let's be very clear about that.
The game, and now we're being painted as thugs, and there's death threats out on us. So it's really unacceptable.
I don't know why she's saying us. Why is she saying us? It's you. No one has an issue with Lexi Hell. No one has an issue with Kalia Copper. People have an issue with DeWanna Bonner, but not for this play. It's you. It's you that narrative. And again, that narrative completely wrong. Let's be very clear. Anything that is not on the that is off the court when it comes to Alyssa Thomas, none of us know. None of us know anything about Alyssa Thomas. And you know what? Like, it is. We also have to take into account again the whole domestic abuse allegations by the damn Angel fans, but none of it's right. But anyway, let's keep listening here.
It's something that needs to change in this league, and I'm just really sick and tired of it.
Like, something needs to change in the league. How? I mean this when I say this. How? It is shit. There's nothing they can do. It's not the league's fault that people on Twitter talk. That's not the league's fault. What can Kathy do?
Honestly, I didn't even know I was being suspended until 10 minutes before it was put on social media. We still have yet to hear anything from Kathy.
Why would they hear anything from Kathy? It's not the commissioner's job to talk to somebody who cheap shot at somebody. No offense. Is it the commissioner's job to put in systems in place so that the inevitable, again, I cannot stress it enough, it's not right to get death threats, but the inevitable death threats are dealt with properly? And any actual threat is sent to the right places, sent to the police, and treated with the seriousness that it is? Yes, that is on Kathy, but that's not what they're complaining about.
Yeah, we still have yet to hear anything from Kathy. It's no surprise. You can see what's being said on social media, and yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but as usual, she remains silent, and that's unfortunate when, you know, our lives are being threatened.
I gotta be very clear. Kathy Engelbert coming out and saying Caitlin Clark fans bad is not gonna help anything in the league. And let's be very clear, this is not a Caitlin Clark fan problem, because your fucking main fan page on Twitter is saying that she wishes you crushed Caitlin's windpipe. I can guarantee you that Alyssa Thomas got death threats over this. I can guarantee you that DeWanna Bonner did. I can guarantee you that fucking Caitlin Clark did. I can guarantee you Sophie Cunningham got death threats because of this. That's unfortunately the way things go on social media. Realistically, the league needs to put money aside for teams to control their players' social medias. Because the unfortunate thing is, if you start scrolling through your name on Twitter as a sports person when you do anything, let's be real, like, Japanese people are like the nicest people in the world. Look up some of the stuff that was said about Ao Tanaka for making a bad pass. Or we'll never forget some of the stuff that's been said about anyone who's ever missed a penalty. Heck, there's certain countries where if you miss a penalty, you might not make it back alive. None of it's right. None of it's right, but the unfortunate thing is that there needs to be systems put in place before all of this happens, because you cannot police social media, and these players seem to think that Kathy controls social media. That by punishing Caitlin Clark or punishing the Indiana Fever, that it's going to make things better. No, it's going to make things worse. First of all, again, none of this happens if you don't cheap shot Caitlin Clark. It starts and ends on one thing. If you don't cheap shot Caitlin Clark, none of this happens. That being said, even after the cheap shot, if you cheap shot a player, let's be clear, like in 2024, you got accused of domestic abuse by the Angel Reese fans. Is that right? No. Is it wrong? Yes, of course. But unfortunately, the only thing you can do is just log off social media. Switch off. Again, LeBron James has had to do it for his entire career. And I do feel in a little bit of a way towards these WNBA players, because no one gave a shit. No one gave a shit when Alyssa Thomas was busting Stewie's eye. No one gave a shit when Alyssa Thomas tried to blow out Candace Parker's knee. Nobody cared. The difference is now is that if you do that stuff, people care. And there should have been social media training brought in by the league. In 2024, there should have been social media training. Like, every team should have an additional budget of, let's just say, $200K. Every single team should have a budget of $200K to hire people to manage their player social medias. And that includes, by the way, vetoing yes and no to every single thing they post. Every single thing they post. And again, if players don't want that, and players want to keep on their social media, they refuse the right to complain about it if they're being shielded from it. The reality is that you have to be shielded. And I watched a no cap space thing, and it was like, Kathy Engelbert could have stopped all of this. No, she couldn't have. Yes, Kathy Engelbert leaning into the whole Angel versus Caitlin non-basketball part of it, yeah, that's wrong. That being said, the commissioner of a league cannot stop it. Like, the commissioner of the league cannot stop a random Twitter account with a insert random person's not even there profile picture from threatening you. The commissioner of the league, we've seen it with Sophie Cunningham's and Caitlin Clark's stalker situation. The commissioner of the league, can't do anything about that. They can't do anything about it. The league can't, and these people seem to think, first of all, Kathy can solve everything, and that the big bad Caitlin Clark is everything that's wrong. No. At the end of the day, where the league failed is being proactive in this. The league failed to see that this was going to happen to everybody. It's not isolated towards the enemies of Caitlin Clark. And let's be very real. The two players that get it the most are Caitlin and Angel Reese. And they're the two players that can deal with it the best because they've been dealing with it for 4 years. They've been dealing with that since 2023. So they have been the best at dealing with this situation because they are able to switch off to an extent. Angel Reese has a fucking bot on her Twitter. I kid you not. If you have talked about Angel Reese missing layups, you've probably been blocked by Angel Reese on Twitter. Why? Because she doesn't want to see that, and she has a fucking bot blocking all those accounts. And that's good. That's good. A lot of these players I know have people running their accounts to make sure they don't see anything bad. People's news feeds don't have. But there are players, and I can guarantee you Alyssa Thomas, one of those players, is Googling their names and are scrolling through. And Kathy Engelbert can't stop that. Kathy Engelbert cannot retroactively make people in their mid-30s social media savvy. Like, she can't do that. Kathy Engelbert needed to put in things. And also, there needs to be a WNBA team. There needs to be a team of people working, like, or what you call it, that are employed by the league, that anytime a player gets a threat, or there's something that they're like, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this post, that it gets sent on to this team, the team works with the authorities, and it gets treated with the seriousness that it is. The league needs to have done that. The league needs to have done that years ago. The league needs to get player social media trained, have people hired for teams that are to manage people's social media, and you know what, get on top of the issue. Because let's be very clear, like, very few NBA players run their social media, especially run their Twitter. Very few footballers do. How do I know that? I've been in the basketball circles for years. I know guys that literally run 10 people's Twitter, 10 NBA players' Twitter accounts. I know there are people that's their full-time job. They will run multiple players' social media accounts. And Instagram, these players tend to not like to, give up the Instagram because of the messaging feature. But let's be very clear, like, if your Instagram is not constantly looking after or looking for yourself, you're not going to see any of the shit on Instagram. It's the unfortunate truth about all this is that, first of all, this all gets avoided if you don't do this. It's as simple as that. And Kathy can't do anything. And you know what? Like, I do sympathize with Alyssa Thomas because it is, like, it's a bad situation. It is kind of, it does fuck with you. It really, really does. Like, some of the messages that people get online really, really fuck with you. And no matter how much you want to say, oh, ignore it, it's hard. It is really hard. And, like, again, this is somebody that, when I posted that I was at Game 3 of the Finals 2024, got a DM from somebody saying that they were going to basically saying that they were going to make sure I didn't make it out there alive. So I've said this plenty of times. I left with a big group of people. Like, I'm not as stand out as most people. Like, I'm a 6 foot tall, at the time, like, actually, no, I was heavy at the time, but, like, I just looked like a normal dude in a group of people. And I just walked out with a group of people. And the first bar I saw, I went into the first bar I saw, and then ordered an Uber like an hour later, and had to pull up to the door, request to pull up to the door and walk right into the Uber and got the fuck out of there. Like, it's one of those things where these messages can absolutely fuck with you. And whether it's Alyssa Thomas, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, all of these players, Sophie Cunningham to have to deal with a stalker, that shit can fuck with you. And none of it is right. And I absolutely sympathize with Alyssa Thomas there. The problem is that it's not a Kathy problem. Kathy cannot control Twitter. Kathy cannot control crazy people. People can say whatever the fuck they want. Kathy can't do anything about it. And especially because, again, this is something that is basically Alyssa Thomas has said it plenty of times, oh, it's just a fever. Again, we've just showed that her number one fan page basically said that she should have tried to paralyze her. Like, it is what it is. Tiffany Hayes is joking and laughing with someone threatening Caitlin. It's not a one-way thing with Caitlin. It's not a one-way thing with Caitlin Clark haters. It's social media. And it's a group of players that don't know how to navigate it. And not only don't know how to navigate it, keep feeding into the narrative. And instead of being able to, what the easiest thing to do is, in this scenario, is just delete all the social media apps from your phone. Go about your day. Anything that's been messaged. And you know what? If you want to keep an eye on threats, if you want to keep an eye on potential death threats, have somebody you know and be like, look, this is bad. I don't want to see this. But if there's an actual credible threat, can you please let me know? Let me know or send it to the police. If Alyssa Thomas does that, this ends. This ends the next time Caitlin Clark plays basketball. But now it is a case where it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And again, people just keep thinking that Kathy Engelbert can solve everything. Kathy Engelbert cannot police Twitter. Like, I'm going to be real. It wasn't even on Twitter. I had someone in 2022 that try to pay people to find my address so he could put a hit out on me. He lived 5,000 miles away. Like, it's awful. It's genuinely awful. And it's not a WNBA problem. It's, for lack of a better word, it's a society problem. It's not a Fever problem. It's not an Alyssa Thomas problem. It's a society problem. And let's be very real here. Alyssa Thomas in this whole situation, and I'm very glad that she just tried to talk about what was happening in general and not basically saying, oh, it's just Fever fans, because that would have started World War III again. She could have absolutely thrown gasoline on the flames. But right now, instead of, just letting the flames go out naturally, which they will, she kind of poured water on the flames, which slightly spreads it and didn't make it any worse. She didn't pour fucking gasoline on the flames, at least with this. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Again, I very much want to say where this all comes from. All you have to do, all that she had to do in this, no one was, when she swung an elbow at Caitlin Clark and missed, no one was doing anything. It's just she connected with her cheap shot this time. But anyway, see you guys.